So we all know what's happening in Congress. The Democrats trying to make a point about gun reform. Here's what Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, who, by the way, won't let a vote happen on it because, you know, it's important. Here we go. Here's what he has to say.
First, I would tell you, well, this is nothing more than a publicity stunt. That's point number one.
Oh, it's a publicity stunt. When the Democrats are shining a light on the fact that we don't do anything about gun reform in America, that's a publicity stunt. Unlike when the NRA named Paul Ryan Employee of the Month with almost absolutely no fanfare. All right, here's what he has to say.
Number two is this bill was already defeated in the United States Senate. Number three, we are not going to take away a citizen's due process rights. We're not going to take away a citizen's constitutional rights without due process. That was already defeated in the Senate, and this is not a way to try and bring up legislation. Now, let's focus on the issue at hand here, terrorism.
Okay, 2 points. The issue isn't terrorism. That guy wasn't a terrorist. That guy was a mental case, right? That guy was unstable, had lots of violent problems going back to 5th grade. He pledged allegiance to Hezbollah and to and to ISIS and to Al Qaeda, which you can't. If you know anything about those, you can't do that. That doesn't make sense. That's like pledging allegiance to the Yankees and the Mets and the Boston Red Sox. You can't do it. So it's not about terrorism. So that's bullshit. That's what they want you to think. This is about terrorism. No, it isn't. It's about easy access to high-powered weaponry. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. Okay.
And let's find out what we need to do to prevent future terrorist attacks.
Yeah, well, it says it's a terrorist attack. What we could do to prevent future attacks like this, some sensible gun legislation. That's what we could do. So then he tweeted out, retweet if you agree this sit-in by the House Democrats is nothing more than a publicity stunt. Yeah, just nothing more than a publicity. You know, these guys want to do something about guns. Publicity stunt. Unlike when you guys took your 400th vote to repeal Obamacare. Unlike that serious moment. So they don't have time to take a vote. Paul Ryan does not have time to take a vote because of this goddamn publicity stunt. What did he have time to do? So let's remember, in the Senate, what did the Senate have time? This is what they decided to do in the Senate. After the shooting, they didn't decide to ban guns. They didn't decide to ban AR-15s. They didn't decide to ban for background checks or to get terrorists off, not be able to buy weapons. None of that happened. What did they do to protect us? This is true. This is really... Oh, that's what they were doing in the Senate. Senate falls one vote short of giving FBI access to browser histories without a court order. What happened was privacy-minded. So what they did was they went back in the Senate and they tried to pass a bill to take away more of our rights. Yes. What was it? Well, on Wednesday, privacy-minded senators, this is according to U.S. News and World Report. They said privacy-minded senators on Wednesday blocked an amendment that would give the FBI power to take internet records, including browser histories and email metadata, without a court order. So Mitch McConnell went back. So the Republicans went back to Congress after that massacre. Did they try to legislate some gun legislation? No. What did they do? They tried to erode more of your rights. They tried to make us more into a police state. So this whole idea that they're somehow for your freedom is bullshit. They're not for your freedom at all. Because right here, this goes against the Fourth Amendment. You have to get a warrant, a specific warrant. You want to do stuff like that. They want to make it so you don't. They want to make it so they can get your browser history and email metadata without a court order. That's what the Republicans are pushing right now in response to the shooting. Not a publicity stunt like the Democrats, trying to have some gun legislation. Not a publicity stunt like that, but they're doing this. They're trying to do it under the radar. The amendment would allow the FBI to use NSLs to force companies to turn over electronic communication transactional records, sometimes referred to as an ECTR, when it claims they are relevant to an investigation into terrorism or espionage. So they would force private companies to give them the data they have on you, like whoever, Verizon, Sprint, Google, Apple, whoever. They can force. We wanted his. What has he been looking at? His browser. Do you have a warrant? No, I want to see it anyway. Oh, okay. Why? I don't know. Maybe the guy's an agitator. Maybe the guy's an Occupy Wall Street guy, and I want to find some dirt on him to discredit him, so he's not allowed to make a point against the government. And by the way, who makes money off their surveillance? There are a lot of people. Private industries do the surveillance now. Booz Allen. That's what's total money giveaway to private industries. That's what that is. And what are NSLs? NSLs are administrative subpoenas that don't require court approval and often come with a gag order. So that's what they did in the Senate. That's what they did in the Senate. They wanted to use NSLs to force companies to turn over electronic communications and transactional records. NSLs are administrative subpoenas that don't require court approval and come with a gag order on top of it. So there you go. That's what the Senate Republicans did. That was their response to the shooting. That's their response to the shooting. How did they respond? How did they respond in the House? Well, we saw Paul Ryan not allowing a vote on the bill. We saw him. Also, what they did, this is according to The Hill, GOP lawmakers and aides said no gun-related measures would be voted on Wednesday night. What did they do? Instead, Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy of California will call for a vote to overturn the Labor Department's new rule requiring financial advisors to act in the best interest of their clients. Let me break that down for you. So there's a new rule that the Republicans are fighting, and the new rule says that financial advisors have to act in the best interests of their clients. You know, the people coming to ask for financial advice, they're not allowed to lie to them and sell them stuff that makes them more money and hurts their own client, which is what was happening, which is why we needed a rule. And why do you need rules in the financial sector? Because if people don't have confidence in the financial sector, they won't invest. And there goes your investments. That's why you need a well-regulated financial sector. That's what they decided to do. Hey, there's 50 dead gay people because of our corruption and lack of gun regulations because everybody's bought and paid for. Well, how should we respond to it? You want to regulate guns sensibly? No, how about we make it easier for banks to fuck over their clients? That's what they sent us to Congress to do, right? When we have a superior culture, though, to those barbarian Muslims. Our whole fucking government, our whole culture is bought by a handful of people. And what do? They write legislation to fuck over their own citizens out in the open. They're suppressing the vote left and right. They're doing stuff like this. 90% of the country wants some kind of gun legislation. They won't give it to them. We live in an oligarchy right now. Your government's already been stolen from you. This is our superior culture. This is the kind of stuff our superior culture Christians do to each other for money. We'll do anything for money. We'll even invade a Muslim country and kill hundreds of thousands of people and then order torture to cover it up. That's what we do in our superior culture. For money. For money. So way to go. That's the Republicans' response to a massacre in Orlando. Screw over clients of banks